full on Brit now.
Yeah, right. Um, Shakeup at the BBC. So the British Broadcasting Channel, they're they've been around. I don't know how long. It's been a while, but to my understanding, it's there's a fee that if you're
Mhm,
a member of the British, you're a citizen, you have to pay that
mhm,
goes towards the BBC,
yes.
and they are getting rid of that. Um, Crazy. I'm sure that's
Yeah.
quite the change for the citizenry there.
Mhm.
Do you have thoughts? I didn't know this was, like,
I
under discussion or whatever, but
Yeah, no, I mean, this totally came out of left field. Like, I had seen nothing about it before, so when you posted that, I was like, "Whoa." Yeah. I am highly disappointed about this because, as the article rightly points out, the BBC's already made the cuts it can make behind the scenes and in, like, staffing. It's This is gonna affect hugely, the content that they're able to produce. And not only things, that have kind of traveled over and become beloved, or like high production value things like Doctor Who, but it's gonna affect a lot of like, you know, the period dramas that they do, which, as a student of English literature, Victorian era especially, I do watch a lot of those programs, and it really disappoints me that the BBC is no longer gonna have, you know, a foot in that arena. It's gonna be up to, like, streaming platforms like Netflix if they wanna do those sorts of period dramas, which, they've already dabbled their toe into with their, like, mega hit series, Bridgerton. But that's, like, one thing, that's not what they're known for, whereas, like, the BBC is
right.
like, "We got this. This is, like, our bread and butter. We do this all the time." Yeah, so I'm highly disappointed that this is gonna be happening.
Hmm. Well, good, because I have the complete opposite opinion. Um, I mean, definitely there'll be some good stuff lost for sure with this change. No arguments there. Like you say, particularly the historical period pieces, those are not necessarily going to be the largest money makers. And so that's where they get the support in this fashion.
Mhm,
But on the other hand, like when I think of the BBC, I think of Doctor Who and Top Gear, both of which
mhm.
have been destroyed. So, I mean, maybe Doctor Who has a turnaround. I don't know, but it's been a real disappointment for a while now. And then Top Gear, they kicked out the guys that make Top Gear,
Mhm.
and so no one cares about Top Gear anymore. Like Top Gear was a thing. Like that's a big deal. And yeah, it's kind of like America tried to do the American Top Gear, no one watched it. They tried to do actual Top Gear again, no one watched it. So the things that my connection points
Mhm.
with the BBC um have already been suffering greatly. And then I guess stuff like Sherlock Holmes, whatever.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm totally good with a non forcibly funded um like television program. It's kind of like public radio here or whatever kind of thing. I do like that there was a known fee that you have to pay, so you like would understand that this amount is going to fund this.
Mhm.
That's nice. Um Versus just like well, we're taking some chunk of it somewhere that's just
Or it's
collectively
like
gone in. And
taxes.
yeah, right. So I like the idea that you have to write the check, but I don't like the idea that you're forced to write the check for
Mhm.
maybe a channel that you have no value in or you have no appreciation for or whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's we're gonna lose some good things, but it's kind of a long time coming, and um, hopefully, hopefully there'll be some other there's enough desire for what the BBC created that they'll be able to either the BBC what's left or others will be able to fund future product projects.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it doesn't sound like the BBC is going away entirely. It's not, like,
Right.
immediately collapsing, after this goes through, which doesn't sound like it's happening yet for another 3 or 4 years, possibly 5. Didn't read it quite as closely as I should have, I guess. Um, so, yeah, so it's obviously not going away immediately, and it didn't intimate that, like, these deep cuts were the end of the channel. So
Right.
I hope that they're still able to keep things like, I mean, they might not be able to do, um, Doctor Who anymore because I know those episodes have just gotten, like, wildly out of control production cost-wise.
Right.
So maybe, maybe it's a good thing to force that series to kinda, like, take a pause, evaluate itself. Maybe it goes back to, like, I don't know, back to its roots where, special effects weren't as heavily involved and it was more, kind of grounded, and episodic. Um,
Yep.
but I hope it does still offer things. Like I said, I know I particularly enjoy the period dramas.
Mhm.
I do love that the BBC often will pair with public theater and offer, filmed performances of what's going on at, like, the
Yep.
Globe, or Shakespeare's Theater in Stratford upon Avon. Like, I do love those kinds of things where it's like, this is just like a public arts channel for things that aren't necessarily accessible. Um, they seem like they should be, um, but they just aren't because, they're not located exactly where people can get to, or also because tickets are high enough that, somebody can't just, like, justify spending that type of money to go out to a play for an evening. But, like, "Oh, it appears on the BBC, like, I've already paid my, 160 quid a year," or whatever, or 160 pounds. Yeah, I'll watch that because I really want to.
Mhm.
So,
Isn't
yeah.
it, like, I think that, to me, this seems like an opportunity for, just as we were talking with Game Pass, where not everything is the headlining
Mhm.
project, the thing that gets the most money or
Right.
the thing that everybody's willing to dump all their money into for, but that fills out a product. To me, it seems like a lot of this stuff is great character to a subscription service. So whatever that becomes or whatever, I think there's a lot of opportunity to have those things available and you know, get these niche things in someplace else that just fills out a library of things.
Mhm.
Also, I'll say that so the license fee will be abolished completely in 2027. That's the year
Okay, so it
it's
is 5
done.
years.
And the also this statement here from the Guardian, the BBC will have to negotiate with the government over an entirely new funding model when the final license fee funding deal expires in 2027, with
Okay.
potential options including a subscription service, part privatization, or direct government funding. So basically they're going to be coming up to this. They have their 5 year time. We really don't know what's going to happen. You know,
Sure.
um, my radical self is for like, yeah, like make them stand on their own 2 feet. But there's a very real possibility that they're going to have something else. Otherwise, I remember wanting to watch Doctor Who and having difficulty because I didn't have access to iPlayer or whatever, in the thing.
Right.
So I had to wait for it, perfect opportunity to open this up to international audiences, give people things at the exact same time. You don't have to make certain deals with US distribution or whatever.
I was gonna say they did try that, didn't they? There was, like, a BBC, like, offering of, like, a subscription service to the BBC in America, and it did not go well, if I
Okay.
recall correctly. Um, I think they tried to do their own, like, channel, and I don't remember exactly how it was marketed, but I know that it wasn't done well because people were very confused about how to access it and, like, what sort of, like, add-on it was. I know you can add it
Mhm.
on to, like, Amazon Prime, or at least you could at one point because I got offers through there, but it was very confusing and just
Sure.
did not go well. So maybe this will force it to, like, get its shit together and make it more
Yeah.
clear how, like, international
Right.
audiences can subscribe to BBC.
Now, one thing I don't know is if this extends, because I know there's lots of BBC, lots of different
Yeah.
channels.
Yeah,
if
there's
this
like 7 or 8
includes
different channels.
yeah. So, I assume the license fee is for funding all of it. The biggest thing I would have, I guess, opposed to is like, obviously, I mean, I watched the BBC historically. I've watched it quite a bit,
Mhm.
news things and stuff. But it's
Right.
also, in my book, a pretty big conflict of interest to have your publicly funded slash government funded news network that never tastes good to me. But obviously, it is a plethora of channels. Like you said, if it's
Mhm.
seven, there's just no mention in this, anyways. I guess it's just assumed knowledge at this point. I all those BBC channels get this funding from the same places
I would
for the same
imagine
fee.
so if they're licensed, like, under the BBC umbrella, at least in
Hmm.
part, I would imagine that they would have to.
Yep. Yep. Well, anyways, surprising
Mhm.
story. Kind of came out of nowhere for me. Um, and it'll be something to follow over the next 5 years.
Mhm. Yeah, a very crazy up and down week in the news.
Yeah,
Um,
it's big things.
Big deals being made in the gaming world and big deals being taken away in the television
Yeah,
world. So,
right.
yeah, nuts.